Hey guys, you're back here with Credit Connect. Remember, this channel is about you guys. I want to empower you guys. I want to show you how to understand your credit, how to go out there and fix that credit, and how to leverage that credit. I want you to get the best products on the business side and on the personal side for business or personal funding. Loans, installment loans, home mortgages, the best credit cards, zero interest credit cards. And also, I'm still dropping my VIP mentorship that I am growing right now. It's for free, so try to get in. I already uploaded all the templates. If you guys need to dispute something from your credit, if you have a fraud alert and you've contacted the CRAs and they're not removing it, there is the template. Also remember that I do have my Spanish channel, which is called Conecto de Crédito. If you guys have any friends or your relatives that don't speak English or just got to this country, send them over. So what we're going to be talking about in this video is certain things that are getting you denied. And this is a topic that I'm really good at. Why? Because for 22 years, I funded my clients. Maybe not the funding that you think, but I funded my clients for dental procedures. And some of those dental procedures go up to $70,000. So I normally filled out the application for them as a courtesy, plus I was much quicker. So the first thing I want to tell you when you're ready and you think that you're going to go in for a credit card or a car loan is check your credit. It's not that it's going to get you denied, but it's a pro tip. Check your credit. Check your credit. Make sure that you have nothing reporting late and that everything is on point. Study the institution. Make sure you know how many hard inquiries, if they're sensitive to that, if you have too many, too little, study everything and see where they're going to pull your credit. That's number one. The reason why I tell you this, a lot of people would come and they would be denied for a credit card. They're like, well, I just bought a car yesterday. Yeah, you just bought a car because your score is 580. And if you don't pay the car, they're going to come and repossess it. And you got a really high interest rate. But, if you got a credit card and you went spending $20,000, there's nothing for them to repossess. So make sure that when you're going to apply, depending what you're going to work with, the institution, you understand the data points. The second thing I'm going to tell you, this happened to me like a month ago. If your credit is frozen, unfreeze it 24 hours prior. I've had people unfreeze it right there and then. And you know what? Something on the algorithm jumps and then they have to wait 7 to 10 days. So do it 24 hours prior. And this happened to me the other day. I was applying for another Chase Ink card, and guess what? I didn't practice what I preach. I forgot to unfreeze my Experian. What happened was I went into a manual review. At the end, I did get approved, but I feel that if I would have not gotten into that manual review, I would have gotten a much higher limit. Plus, they asked me every question that you can imagine in the dictionary. The only other thing they needed was my DNA, basically. Okay, so unfreeze the credit. The other thing I'm going to tell you is when you're applying for a credit card, make sure that you're spelling your name correctly the way it shows up in the credit report. Let's say you have a middle name. Don't decide one day to be, John Steven and spell it out completely. And then another time, do an application with John S. You got to make sure, try to put always in the credit application, whatever is in your license and always follow the same step. You don't know how many times people get denied or it just makes, the algorithm jump and then you have to wait 7 to 10 days or 7 to 14 days while they call you, they verify, and so on and so on. So again, once you check your credit, you want to make sure what name comes out in the credit report, and you want to go by that. If you have different names, then fix that information first. Dispute it, the personal side, dispute and clean up your personal information. I also have templates in my mentorship for that. So that's the name. The other thing I want to tell you is address. If every time you try to get approved for a credit card, you put a different address, that makes you look unstable. I would tell you, if you just change address and you haven't updated, use the old address. Once you get approved, just call them and say, oh, you know what? I just got approved, but I didn't realize I gave you the old address. And just change the address. Nothing happens because you're already approved. Also, the way you spell your address can be a big problem. ST for street, or you can spell the whole name. So make sure that across the board, you're always doing it exactly. Another thing when we talk about employment, okay? For the employment, if you just change jobs or something, make sure that you use the old job, unless you used to make $10 an hour and now you're making, I don't know, $50 an hour. But employment is another one. You always want to have the same employment across the board because this can create hiccups. Also, if you're retired or self-employed, that's something you don't want to put in. I'm not telling you how to fill out an application. I'm just telling you that can make it jump or get denied. You know, even if you're employed, you're making money. So it's better to always put that you're working because that can be a big problem. Also, guys, use your common sense. If you put that you're working for McDonald's and you put that you're making $300,000 and you're asking for a credit line of $1,000, that's not going to make sense. So I would tell you, never put that you're making too little and never put that you're making too much. Unless you're a person that's already been making, let's say, $500,000 or something like that, and you have this on your credit report, and, you know, they always see that you do apply for big limits and all that, and that's the norm for you, then go ahead and do it. But you don't know how many clients I would try to get approved for $1,000, and they would tell me they're making $350,000 a year. You don't even have $1,000. That makes it, you know, on another credit card. So use your common sense. This is a big one, okay? Employment, how much you make, never put retire or self-employed. Even on your business side, they like to see a W-2. It makes you look more stable. Also, when you are applying for a credit card, remember that's stated income. Most of the time, they don't ask you for any paperwork. Sometimes when there's hiccups, it could go into a manual review. And it could go in where they want you to provide documents. So just make sure that you do have those documents. Also, if you're trying to apply for a business, they do ask you for projected business. How much do you think your business is going to make in the future? Do a research of the businesses in the area and see how much they're making. If you have a business that most of those businesses only make $100,000 and you report $1 million, that might go into, you know, a hiccup or a manual review. I'm not saying it can't. Maybe your business, you know, is going to do extraordinary things in that area, but those are things just to think about. Also, you can always put, when it's personal, projected, household income. So that means if your kids are over 18 or you have somebody that's living in your house over 18, you can use all that income. Okay, so this is amazing. This is household income. This is really important. Also, guys, I've seen that when it asks you a question, do you rent or you own or live with other? When you put sometimes live with other, it makes you look unstable. Most of the time, you get the best results when you own your house, okay? Also, when it asks you, how much is your mortgage? If you and your spouse live in that house and both of you guys pay 50-50, then just put the 50% that you pay. Works out better for you. So those are little tricks not to get denied for a credit application, knowing all this information. Also, if you guys get alimony or child support and all that, ladies or men, try not even to put that on there because that can open a can of worms, and then they want more documentations and so on and so on and so on. Just add it like part of your income, but don't get into that kind of detail, you know, because like I said, it could be a can of worms. I've seen it where clients need to provide more information, okay? Also, if they ask you, what do you want these $20,000 for? If it's on the personal side, don't say, oh, I'm going shopping or I'm going on vacation. It's better if you say, well, I need it for someone home improving, or I'm going to liquidate another, you know, card I have or a project that I have or something like that. Always have your story ready, okay? This is really important. Sometimes you go for a credit card and you do it, you know, in person. Always have the story ready. because you're never going to know when they're going to ask you what's the story behind. And this is really important. The story behind it is really important. And remember, when you're applying for credit cards, this is a game of chess, not checkers. Like I always tell you, study the institution, the bank, the credit card, the car lending, the mortgage, and see what works for you and what you need before you apply. That way, if they ask you for something, because you didn't do your due diligence or you didn't do your homework, you don't have to say, oh my God, I don't have it at this point, I'll call you back. Or because again, it can go into manual reviews and then they can want more paperwork. So knowing all the information from the get-go is the best way to do it. Remember, guys, I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you advice. This is just for educational reasons only. This is how we learn from each other. I always tell you, do your due diligence, do your homework, and also like my channel, subscribe to my channel, give me a comment. That's the only way I'm going to get to know you guys. You know, my English, I have the Miami accent. So I try to bring you the best knowledge that I know, and I try to help you. Also, guys, subscribe to my mentorship. That is a safe space. We're building that out. My goal for that mentorship is where everybody drops their gem of, you know, the data points and all that, because one person doesn't know everything, doesn't know all the institution. That way we can go out there together as a team and we can get the best products, okay? And the best place for the funding. Remember, my name is Jackie. And until next time, guys.